And welcome back. This is Blockbuster Pick-ems. You're here with four of the most experienced film gurus on planet Earth. I can't say the universe quite yet. We are still exploring, and we haven't.
Pretty good on Mars.
They've got some good picks on Mars.
No one ever hears
do
their
they
picks.
Do our box office, or do they do?
They don't go
Mars
on
box
Twitter
office?
that much, though. That's the problem.
Do they do an international type box office game?
Do they have their own movies?
They really love Santa Claus Defeats the Martians. It's one of their favorites.
I remember you had to watch that one.
Yeah, I did.
That was a good one.
Well, this is Blockbuster Pick-ems, and we are your film gurus. As I said, I'm David. This is Lauren.
Hi, I'm Lauren.
On the far side, we have Michael Fisher.
Hey, everybody.
And over here, our two-time champion, Matthew Sanford.
2 times.
And we are here to play Blockbuster Pick-ems. You might be asking yourself, if you haven't seen this or heard this podcast, I had to put my hands to my ears there.
Put them on your jaw.
On my jawline. I have ears everywhere. Well, welcome. And so we play a game. The game is Blockbuster Pick-ems. We have a 10-week season. We are on our 5th week of picks. And before we get to that, we're going to explain the game. The game has rules, and it goes as follows. You pick the top 5 films every weekend in the box office. If you get the film within the top 5 correct, you get 5 points. If you get the film in the right spot, Matt, you get another 10 points. Or 5 points, excuse me.
5 points.
Total 10 so far. I have trouble with the game. And then
Obviously.
if you get it within 100,000 over or under,
The total gross.
the total gross, excuse me, because you guessed the score, oh my gosh. When you guess the total gross within 100,000 over and under, you get another 10 points, totaling 100 out of
100 or 20? What the heck? Which one is it?
20 points per movie, 100 points total.
We
I
have
like the way Lauren said it.
We
Lauren,
have
can you
a-
do the scoring thing in the beginning from now on? That was really great.
Thank you very much.
kidding.
Welcome back to
Made it.
Blockbuster Pick-ems. So essentially, we had a really insane week. We had some big films come out the last couple of weeks. And to kind of throw it forward, we have a lot of small films and some interesting films and some things sneaking in there. So it's going to be a very different week of picks. But before we get to that, let's go to Matt and find out what the hell happened while we were all watching movies.
Well, it was quite an eventful weekend. Some impossible mission was solved. It was great. I'm pretty sure. I didn't see it yet. Was it? Did everything get?
I saw
according
it.
to plan?
I loved
I mean,
it. It
based
was
on
the
the
best
fact-
action movie I think I've ever seen.
I mean, what's really interesting is Mission Impossible movies are great, but the
Well,
fact
that's a very
that they're
interesting
called
story.
The IMF or the Impossible Mission Force is just kind of makes me a little.
This movie
cringy.
makes you forget all
Okay,
about
yeah, I was
the
gonna
dumb
say,
things.
I'm hoping
It's like
When
calling
you
it-
see Tom Cruise run at 56 and he's 10 times faster than I am, it doesn't matter. What IMF can stand for whatever you want.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. All right, so in the box office, the number 1 movie this weekend was Mission Impossible 6 or Mission Impossible Fallout. It made $61.2 million. Number 2 was Mamma Mia 2 or Mamma Mia Here We Go Again. $15.1 million. The Sequelizer or Equalizer 2 made $14 million even. Hotel Transylvania came in at 4th. With 12.2, yes, the Anna Baby, number 5. I don't have a nickname for this movie, but number 5 was Teen Titans or Teen Titans Go to the Movies, 10.4 million. And
We
then
paid a
number
marketing service like
man, the guy that made up
$100,000.
the title got a high five from
Okay.
somebody, and he felt good about it.
Teen Titans Go to the Movies and just throw them out of the window. So what that means for our game, in first place, gracing first place for the first time in season 4 is Lauren. Way to go, Lauren. She
Thanks,
got
guys.
50 points.
Told you I was going to win.
That was a tie with myself, actually. I had 50 points as well, but Lauren
She beat the two-time champion this
Lauren
week?
got closer to
Weird.
the
Whoa!
ultimate gross, so she was only off by 5.2 million, and I was off by 8 million. So
Oops.
it was a close call, but I got second place. And in third was David. He got 35 points, putting himself above Mike. who had
Really
30
great
points.
score. Great drop
got
from
4
50 to 35.
Mike got 30 points. And
Well,
he's
you
in
guys
fourth.
totally...
Yeah, you guys dropped the ball on
I
Teen
mean-
Titans
It was
Go.
Teen
Teen
Titans.
Titans was looking good Friday. It
No,
had
no, it
$4.25 million Friday, and it was looking like it was going to be number 2 in the box office. But then Saturday and Sunday, it just tanked hardcore, and only came up with like 10.4 million. So
And that audience base wasn't really there. Not a lot of kids in
Friday,
the
it was
movies
half
this
of
week.
its money was made Friday.
Yep. Nope.
Sorry, guys. So yeah, that's what happened.
No big.
And
I forgive you, Matt.
in the overall standings, that puts me still at number 1 with 9 points.
Still.
Dave is 3 points behind me with 6 in second place, and Lauren has 5 points, and she's in third place, coming up in the world.
Ooh.
You're in last place, Mike, with 4 points.
Overtaking
You gotta-
Mike.
Second
Well,
week in a row that you're going to have to watch the
realistically,
humiliation film.
Yeah, when you get last place 2 times in a row,
It's gonna
or
do
as
it.
what I like to call a humiliation, you do
All these
suffer
nicknames.
those points.
I do
Yeah.
love a good humiliation film, so
Yeah, that's
sometimes
true.
I watch them without you guys giving
The
them to me.
twin humiliation experience. Sorry.
Anyway,
Sounded like you're on
that's
a
all
big
I've got
announcement.
as far as
Let's
the box
leave Matt
office
with
in
the
this-
coming up with the names.
That's all I've got.
You
for
mean
the
that
box
you
office.
you miss Velociraptor or what is it?
The Endoraptor.
The Endoraptor.
That's what it was
Fuck,
called in the
dude.
movie. I didn't make that up. Come on, they called
Stealing-
that shit the
stealing-
Endoraptor.
That bad writing is your fault.
No.
I'm gonna
Fine.
just punch my bad jokes at Matt all night.
All
And
right.
that is what happened in the stinking box office. Well,
Stinking.
in the frickety box office. All right, thanks,
PG.
Lauren. Even my like faux cuss words are not flying tonight.
That's
the idea.
Well, I can't wait to play again with these people until we can. But before we can do that, we have to go to a very, very, very packed Mike's Movie Corner of the Week.
Oh, it's so bad.
And the reason it's packed is like we have 70 films coming
There
out.
are a lot. But
So
there's-
let's get right to it.
I'm only talking about. I'm going to talk about. I'm actually going to talk about 5 quickly on 2
All right.
of them. Not too long on a couple of them, but we're going to start with the one that's coming out in the most theaters this week, coming in 3,500 theaters. Christopher Robin's, Disney's
That was a
Christopher Robin's.
Great accent, Mike.
Thanks, man.
I really liked it.
Buena Vista, aka Disney, aka owning everything. I was sending.
Oh, yeah,
you
they
guys
bought
pictures.
Fox this
I was
week.
sending you guys all the things that they just bought. and
Yeah, we'll
whatnot.
talk about that. Gosh.
This is starring Ewan McGregor and Haley Atwell. It's now an adult. Christopher Robbins is focused on his work and his family. Work has him very stressed out when he suddenly meets his old friend, Winnie the Pooh. And he helps Christopher rediscover the joys of life. You guys Winnie the Pooh fans?
Yeah,
I really like
cried
this
when
one.
I saw
Yeah.
this, the long form.
Who's your favorite Winnie the Pooh? Tigger? Tigger?
I'm more of a Piglet kind of guy. Like definitely,
Double,
God Pooh's back and vice versa.
I'm really an underdog, and I'm going for Eeyore. He's
Nice.
I was
my
going to say
favorite,
Eeyore.
yeah.
Nice. But I was more of a Muppets fan myself.
I also like this movie because it's like an acid trip.
It is.
It really is.
like
I'm not just
Christopher
saying that.
Robbins,
It's-
Like ate some weird shrooms by the tree where he was sitting, and then all of a sudden he's seeing stuffed animals come to life.
And the fact that it's the same like color palette as Logan kind of threw me off a little bit too. That
Winnie
was
the Pooh
weird.
pulls out
Yeah,
claws.
it just starts slashing people's throats. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Like faded brown and the blood is red. and-
Yeah, right.
But this is a live action / CGI movie that Disney is putting out there. They're really into retelling their stories with a live action twist. The newer days.
It's like a mutated Anna baby.
I like it.
That was better. The next movie coming from
I'm coming after you, Matt.
coming from Fox, who's still trying to put out the last remainder of their movies before Disney takes them over. The Darkest Minds, coming in over 3,000 theaters. This is starring Amandla Stenberg. This is her first kind of bigger movie. And, of course,
Well, she was
Mandy
in Hunger
Moore.
Games.
Oh, was she on Hunger Games?
Yeah, she was the little girl.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't
She was
realize
Rue.
that. Oh, wow. I didn't
That's
know
right.
that. Jeez.
She
yeah,
was.
Mike.
No research done.
This is also starring Lauren's favorite actress, Mandy Moore.
My favorite.
Oh, she loves her.
This movie's about a
We
plague.
all love her.
Speak
yeah.
for yourself.
A plague kills 98% of the American children, and those who survive this plague
Are
have
mutants.
special powers. Basically,
I
mutants.
thought this was an X-Men movie.
But
But
I
it
saw
basically
too.
is because the government finds that these teens with these special powers, they deem them threats to national security. So they imprison all of these kids that are under 18.
But if the only 0.2% of the population that survives is now being hunted and thrown in jail, like how do you?
Time out. Are you really questioning this plot,
Don't
Matt?
question
I
the
am.
U.S.
It's a
government.
child's
Go watch the movie.
like a psychic ability movie.
Yeah, no. Like all that aside, what do you do with growing your population?
Well,
We're just not going to talk
A
about
lot
the fact there
of
was
the
a
kids are
purge.
trying to find their own safe haven. Ruby, played by Amanda Stenberg. She's the most powerful teen anyone has ever seen, and she wants to find a safe haven. But
she's a rare form.
She is, but she soon joins the Teen Resistance group to fight back and reclaim control of their future.
Is this a Teen Titans spinoff?
It kind of reminds me of, this is more of like a Max Steel kind
Wait,
of
wait. Dare I say Animorphs?
kind of, a little bit.
We're all the parents, except Animorphs just didn't explain it. There just wasn't any adult presence.
No,
it's
they
like
just turned into
the
animals
Peanuts.
and they could only do it for a certain amount of time. Whoa, what?
Now, Mike, can we nerd out for just a second?
No.
It sounds like this girl is employing the same tactics that the most villainous character of X-Men, Magneto, was trying to employ.
Now,
So-
I'd say that it's more like Doctor
Ruby
Strange.
seems more
from,
innocent.
Right, but that's the whole thing. She still
tried-
wants
I
the
tried
same
to
thing.
jump in
like,
on
oh
that.
no, we're gonna fight back and prove we're the
I
superior.
feel like this is how the movie's gonna play out. She's gonna Mandy
Wait,
Moore's
wait,
like
time out. Everybody, just pay attention.
Spoiler alert.
He's predicting it now. We're predicting it now.
It's like, you don't use your powers for bad. You know, you just got to find your own place. And then she's gonna reconnect
It's
with.
gonna be like the Iron Giant.
She's gonna connect with
pull
some
the
guy
guns
that's
out, yeah.
cute, and she's gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, she's dreamy." And then something's gonna happen where she's gonna use her powers and be like, "Oh my gosh, you're so powerful. You got to lead the resistance." And then she's gonna lead the resistance, and that cute guy will
Hunger
probably
Games
die.
part.
Mandy
Probably.
Moore, I assume, will die between the beginning and the
You
first
really think
half.
she'll die or
Yeah.
heavily injured?
I think she will die. And that's why,
Hospitalized.
yeah, I think something's gonna happen.
And then the hospital blows up.
That's
exactly.
pretty dramatic.
Well, only with Mandy Moore inside.
That's
Everybody
what's
else
gonna
got
happen.
evacuated but Mandy
They forgot her on the top floor.
Yeah, that was what it was.
I watched this trailer. I had no idea Mandy Moore was in this.
See, I saw
Me
this
neither.
trailer, and the only scene Mandy Moore was in was like in a car scene,
Yeah.
and then she was never in it again.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, she's gonna die.
It's like
Probably
a
in that
2-day
car.
experience
Yeah,
for
Probably in
Mandy.
that car. Also coming in at over 3,000 theaters from Lionsgate, the rated R movie of the week, The Spy Who Dumped Me, starring Mia Kunis and Kate McKinnon. Aubrey, played by Mia Kunis, gets dumped by her boyfriend, and her friend Morgan helps her try to get closure with it, but then they unwittingly become entangled in an international conspiracy when they find out the ex-boyfriend who dumped her is actually a spy.
I'm actually really excited
Just
for this
introduce-
movie.
oh,
It's
yeah.
Mila and that girl from SNL who's really good. She
Kate
plays
McKinnon.
Hillary Clinton. Yeah, Kate McKinnon. Excuse me. She's really, really funny. This one looks interesting, other than Tom Cruise. But
Guys, how many times have you been in a situation like that where you find out one of your exes is a spy? I mean,
all
that
the
happens.
time.
Yeah, I know
mean,
it.
all the guys I
The-
date,
Is
they're all
the-
spies.
Is the ex-boyfriend Tom Cruise? No, it's
No, it's Justin Theroux.
Yeah, Justin Theroux.
Yeah, not the
Theroux.
prime minister.
Justin
also
of
known
Canada.
as Justin Theroux.
Yeah, not Justin
Yeah, I
Trudeau.
said, I'm all political. There.
Yeah, exactly. But that, like I said, coming in over
was
3,000 theaters, close. Another movie that's coming out in a nationwide release, Eighth Grade, rated R. It's from A24. They come out with kind of more interesting, well-written scripts that are a little bit smaller. But this was written and directed by Bo Burnham, the comedian. It's an introverted girl tries to survive her last week of 8th grade before she heads off to high school. It looks really good. It's gotten really great reviews. I love Bo Burnham. Have you guys listened to any of his stand-up specials?
Yes,
and
of
stuff?
course.
It's very fun.
And he's been doing a lot of the promotion for this, and it's getting really hot right now.
Which is, it originally was only supposed to come out in like a couple hundred theaters, and because of the promotions, because of how hot it's getting, it's gotten a nationwide release, which will probably be around 15.
Yeah,
to
it
18.
came out in 4 as like a soft release, and it was pulling in like an average of basically like $16,000 a theater. So if they explore, this is a pretty good one. Do the math.
There's one more.
Math coming up.
If you like documentaries, Death of a Nation, coming in over about 1,000 theaters. This a documentary that about drawing the parallels between Abraham Lincoln's presidency and Donald Trump's. If you are a Trump fan, you will probably like this movie. It is written and directed by Dinesh D'Souza, who is a hardcore Republican. And
But what's with the choice of the title? I thought it would be the exact opposite.
it does. I actually, when I first wrote, I was like, oh, this is coming in 1,000 theaters. I also thought, too, that it was like, oh, this is going to be talking about how terrible Trump is and stuff. But once I found out it was Dinesh D'Souza, I was like, oh, because
we
this
know what
guy...
this is
It's.
gonna be.
I
He's
feel like that's
very-
something that baits you into going to see it.
I agree.
If you are against Trump, and
Yeah,
then he's
that's
going
what
to try
I'm
it. So it's kind of ballsy in a way. Like he's trying
And
to get you to
I
come
actually
in.
just had a long talk with...
because he knows he's unhinged.
Yes.
I actually just had a long talk with Ian Kelly, shout out, political science major. Him and I were talking about how this movie's really probably playing with the idea about how Abraham Lincoln went through a lot of trials and tribulations with the whole Civil War, and the nation was kind of split between those ideals of slavery and non-slavery, and probably bringing in a lot of similarities how Trump is kind of in a country of divided opinions and such like that.
Yeah,
So
but the good side won.
You could use it kind of both ways, though. I don't know why you go right to Abraham, but anyway.
but I mean, you can compare and contrast anything and just pick your arguments. That's
It's
what people
true.
do. So
Red versus
but
blue.
if you're into that kind of thing and would like to see a documentary by a guy who is super swell, you can check it out. Coming to 1,000 theaters. But those are the major movies of the week.
All right. Well,
Nice.
speaking of hot spit takes of cool opinions on things like that we're opinionated on, it's time to do our picks. Now, this is the lightning round that everybody knows, loves, adores. This is where you get to compare the picks that the actual experts, us, I'm just kind of doing that collective us, the four people here, against
royal
you. So make sure that you're also hitting us up on Twitter, Facebook, YouTubes, and giving us your picks. And if you beat us, we will often watch humiliation films that you give us.
Such as Ramen Girl.
We did watch Ramen Girl because
watch
someone
Ramen.
beat all of us.
Yes, go
It's
back.
Bob
That's a
Bob
good.
Video
That's
on Reddit, yeah.
that's a very good humiliation film to go back and listen to. So now we'll get straight to it. It is round 5. Matt, you won this last.
I didn't.
Oh, excuse me,
Bad.
Lauren. Shit.
Wow.
Matt, you tried to take it?
I didn't. I
He
said
tried to
I
go
did
in
not.
with it.
I
Totally
said
did.
I did not. I
Matt,
said
why
I did
would you
not.
do
I
that?
didn't.
Yeah,
Oh
Matt.
my god.
It's all your fault.
Matt.
I was I'm looking at it. Dave.
I'm really
it says
mad.
Lauren first.
I'm
Matt
That's
really
second.
mad that you tried to lead me into that. Lauren, please, let's ignore Matt for a second.
Until my picks, which are next after yours. Thank you very much.
All right,
But I
Lauren.
won. So.
Round 5.
Ding, ding, ding. Start over.
Ding.
Lightning round.
Dang.
All right. Number 1. Mission Impossible 6 at 33.5 mil. Number 2. Christopher Robbins at 31.9 mil. Not too far behind. Number 3. The Spy Who Dumped Me at 16.2. Number 4 is 8th Grade at 8.9. And number 5 is Darkest Minds at 8.4.
All
It was
right.
really hard to pick.
Yeah, this is a tough.
It was not easy.
Definitely.
Yes, and we'll get into that in a moment. All right.
All right. I guess that means I'm next because you're staring at me.
All right, Matt.
Okay.
Please, let's hear your picks from last week.
Mine are very different from Lauren's. Some of them are in the right spot, but a lot are different.
You
Some
mean
of them are in the
mine
right spot.
all in the right
In
spot,
I
fact,
put
or-
some-
one of them.
All right,
only
Matt.
One of them.
Lightning.
Okay, number 1, I said actually Christopher Robbins, 37.2 million. Mission Impossible 6, 36.8 million. Number 3, The Spy Who Dumped Me at 18.1 million. Number 4, The Darkest Minds at 12 0. Number 5, I'm not putting 8th Grade in mine. Mamma Mia, 8.7.
Wow, interesting move.
What'd you say, 8.7?
8.7.
So if you've done the math,
I'm winning.
you'll know that 8th grade is going to make more money than that. All right, so number 1 is Christopher Robin at $39.2 million. Number 2, Mission Impossible 6, Fallout at $33.4 million. The number 3rd film I'm putting in my top 5 is 8th Grade at 18.4 mil.
Whoa.
She's dope. She's gonna get a lot of money. And then number 4, The Spy Who Dumped Me, $12.5 million. And then coming in at number 5 is The Darkest Minds, the child put in the corner, unfortunately, with 7.9
Mike's really long in the corner this week.
7.9 for them?
$7.9
Mike's
million.
moving
All
in a dark corner.
right, back over to that corner, Mike.
Okay, here we go. Mission Impossible, I put at number 1 at $31.3 million.
We're on the same wavelength.
Shut
I put Christopher Robbins at number 2. I'm the lowest on Christopher Robbins. I put it at 22.3. I put number 3, The Spy Who Dumped Me, at 20.8. Number 4, I put Darkest Minds, 14.6. And I'm putting Mamma Mia in there as well as Matt did, and I'm putting at 9.9.
Wow, good job.
lot
I
of money
also,
going to the movies on
I,
this pick.
I, you know, we don't have a complete theater count for
So it's
8th
hard
grade,
to
which
say.
makes me nervous, and
Yeah.
I've fallen for that trap before. It says nationwide, but that could mean 1,800 theaters, and that's a huge
Right.
disadvantage.
Well, let's say it goes to 3,000.
Then Matt and I are screwed.
At
Yeah,
the
that's
pace
right.
at the pace that they're going at, we're all screwed because they'd be making like 48 million. Now let's say that not everybody goes and sees it. They're gonna get like 25 million. I'm guessing it's gonna be around the 1,800 theater count range, and I gave it 18 mil. It's getting tons of buzz, and Bo Burnham has a huge following. I didn't actually realize how many people actually like uniquely subscribe to him on his YouTube. It's intense. So I think that he.
Netflix, like,
Well, I mean,
thing?
yes,
They had a special on
yeah.
Netflix
I just
that
think
was
that there's going to be enough people to push him into that next level, especially because the movie's gotten so many good
We'll see
reviews.
when we get that theater count released.
It would be the biggest opening for a A24 film, I think, and that's what they're hoping, I guess. Or it's not. Oh yeah. Anyway,
So, I mean, there's a wide variety of picks. I don't think anybody has them in the same order at all. So no matter what, there's going to be no ties next week. Well, maybe. Who knows? Okay.
Yeah, probably.
Everyone except
So-
for Dave has The Spy Who Dumped Me at number 3.
Yeah, but that's because of what you just talked about with 8th grade. You're hoping it's going to come in more. But my biggest thing is Christopher Robin. Both of you guys put it number 1, much higher than. I mean, I didn't put it too much lower than you guys, but you would think it's going to do that well?
so my whole thing is that as much as I think 8th grade will do great, it's a rated R film, and that leaves this big open door for a really really well placed.
Children's movie.
Mutated Anna baby. And I think that Disney is not a loser in this race, you know, and they've always been very strategic in when they've put out their films ever since that one completely bombed in the summer, the faux Star Wars one.
Valerian?
No,
No,
for far before that, where they blew a ton of money and John Carter. So
That was
there's
one of the biggest
this
ones.
whole thing where they don't like to put a lot of money into the summer unless it's guaranteed. And I feel like with this movie and the cast and the way that they were able to bring in the nostalgia the right way without making it just a kids movie, I think that it's going to open itself up and win next weekend.
Now, here's something to think about. On Tuesday, July 31st, Avengers Infinity War comes to Blu-ray DVD. Is there any indication that any like one of the biggest releases ever, is there any indication that any families are going to stay home and just
No.
put that one on with popcorn
They've
at
had a
home with their
long
friends
time to
over
do
or
that.
anything like that?
I hate to like burst.
they
I hate to
just
burst your
can't.
bubble, but nobody watches releases for that anymore, and it's also been on DVR for
Right,
purchase
it's been on demand for
and
a while,
rent for
but-
a while. I don't think so. I don't think there's gonna be. It's gonna be kind of like a. It's not gonna be as like this dump of people not wanting to go see new movies.
I'm curious to see how Christopher Robbins does. I have the lowest, but I wouldn't be surprised if it got more. But I wouldn't be surprised if it got less
The
either. 'cause they are playing a lot with the idea of doing these live action animation things, and it worked really well with Jungle Book. They did it with Beauty and the Beast, and that did really well. And they're starting to expand it more. They're gonna do Aladdin, directed by Guy Ritchie. And they're also going to do Lion King.
No.
Yeah, Lion King
And-
directed by John Favreau, who directed
Yeah.
Jungle Book. I think he directed Jungle Book as
yeah,
well. But
correct.
they're putting all of their animated movies out there. Soon you're going to see, I think they're going to do Little Mermaid.
Yep.
They'll probably do a Princess and the Frog. They're going to do everything live action now because
Yeah, live
they
action
ran out of ideas.
with integrated
And they have to
animated
renew the
characters.
copyrights
Oh,
on those
yeah, I
because of
can't
the
forget
whole
that.
yearly thing.
Just
that
ask
the
Sony with
stories might
Spider-Man.
be open to be retold, in a different
Or
way.
just to take the footage of the old cartoons and put it into whatever I want.
Yep.
But yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, this week is pretty spread, but let's see, what was the other one?
The Darkest Minds.
Yeah, both David and Mike put it up pretty high. I mean, above 10 million.
No. I put it at 7.9.
Mine's
sorry.
at 12.
I did put it at
Matt, my
14.6. I gave it a high number because of the release, the amount of theaters is coming out. What did it say? 3,000 theaters plus. So I mean, and it's a teen angsty movie and stuff. I thought I was being generous with 14.6, but you guys are.
Well, yeah. So basically, this is the way I see it. On the opposite end of the spectrum, The Darkest Minds has nobody of any
I think
real.
that's why they're plugging Mandy Moore as much as
Right,
possible.
and then the
one
other.
scene that she's
Remember
actually
that
in.
girl from Tangled? Like, what?
Yeah, and the other. The other thing too is that this isn't something that seems very. I have to admit, it seems too watered down for the crew of teenagers that likes like actual action movies, but it seems too weird for the families that are going to want to take their kids. Oh, I'm hitting shit.
Lauren's the only one that's allowed to break microphones.
Yeah.
So
Stop it.
Dare you?
I don't know. I feel like this doesn't really appeal to anyone. I don't, and they've hidden it. This is like the first week that they actually. I looked at the YouTube page, and they just put this trailer out like 8 days ago.
I'm curious to see if that crowd from like the Divergent series, because that movie ended up
Right,
being
like
so
Maze
bad.
Runner.
But it had
even
a
the last one.
It had a source material. It had
Yeah,
a
it
book.
did.
You know.
It did. But they still had $22 million opening weekend for that last one. So that's kind of what I was comparing it to. Even though it did have the book, you still have a huge audience of angsty teens.
And it's made
that
by the
aren't gonna
people who
wanna see
did
some-
Stranger Things.
Well, in the same. Oh, the Darkest.
It's like
Minds?
I think the same production group, so
Yeah.
they've been throwing that over
Well, kind
everything.
of along your lines of, A Spy Who Dumped Me is rated R. Mission Impossible is an action movie. A lot of angsty kids might not want to care to see that one. And sometimes teens think they're too cool to watch movies about Winnie the Pooh. So I
Or maybe
think
they
if
go
you're
to
forced
see eighth grader and,
Yeah.
and their theater.
Well, that's
isn't
rated R as
showing
well,
it, so they're
too.
gonna go
So
see.
I by process of elimination and the theater count, that's what motivated me to be. I'm the highest on Darkest Minds. Yeah. Wow. I
Well,
didn't think I was gonna be the
Did
highest
you
on it.
did you like Mission Impossible?
That was so good.
Now, did you like the film that you were humiliated with? Boom. All right.
Oh, we're reminded.
Let's just segue
You
right
had to watch a
there.
shitty film.
Because
Moving
I
on.
can't wait to hear about that. As much as it's fun to talk about what we think about the movies that are coming out in the weekend. This is my second favorite other than The Corner. I think this is the most exciting part because we will now review the
1977
Thank you, Matt.
film Rabid. Surgery leaves a Montreal motorcyclist with a blood-sucking appendage in her armpit.
Well, I'm gonna start a little differently for this week's humiliation film.
Please.
We're gonna
Okay.
do a little bit of history.
Okay.
Pornography. Pornography. Have you
Pornography.
heard of it before?
Porno.
Yes, also known as
Porn.
porno. Back in the early 1950s.
You just messed with Matt's head. He just started saying words.
He instantly just started.
It's okay,
picturing every
buddy.
Porno he watched
It's okay.
there. You guys are here.
Matt got a little excited over here.
In the mid 1950s, early 1960s in San Francisco, times were really free. Everyone was really into expressing themselves and being free spirits and whatnot, which also kicked off the idea of pornography. Usually, porno was pictures. And there were two guys, Artie and James Mitchell.
Usually.
Two guys, Artie and James Mitchell, the Mitchell brothers, who were really good at convincing women to take their clothes off for money so that they can take pictures of them. They were really good at it.
There are people with interesting skills.
Exactly. And they had a lot of great ideas when it came to pornography.
There's that word again. Mike.
Exactly. And they were really into
Hugh
the
Hefner
idea.
was like that, right?
Yeah, for sure. So back in the early 1960s, they started getting the idea of not just taking pictures, but making movies. I know, weird, right?
Brilliant.
I can't believe that. I don't think that would ever
never
take
saw
off.
that
What a
Yeah.
revolutionary idea.
So in 1969, they bought a theater, the O'Farrell Theater, and they started showing films. A lot of the films were just small snippets of like just boobs and just naked women and just combined together. There was no story to them. It was just a lot of nakedness.
We haven't
bad.
gotten much for it nowadays either.
There's a lot.
They're all
more
small
story to them.
snippets.
But there a lot of guys would go and see these because men are just the best creatures in the world. They would all go see. You know what
Chemically
the guys were,
perfect.
You know what the guys were called that went to these theaters to see these movies?
Creeper. Oh, what?
They were called close. They were called the Horn Dick Daddies.
Horn
they
Dick.
were
I want a
Horn
shirt
Daddies. These
right
guys
now.
would go.
On BlockbusterPick-ems.com, you can get your Horn Dick Daddy shirt for $19.99.
No, we're gonna make the Horn Pick-ems pack.
So these gentlemen, I don't want to call them gentlemen. They're called the Horn Dick
They're not,
Daddies.
yeah.
They would go to these theaters to check out
The
these movies,
HDDs.
and they would enjoy them because there was no story to them apparently. But the Mitchell brothers saw more, and they wanted to do more
Than just boobs.
than
They saw
just,
more than
boobs. So in 1972, they released their full feature-length pornography movie, and it was called Behind the Green Door.
Was there a green door?
It's
If there
really
wasn't-
it's based off of short stories that were told between soldiers in World War II. But it
Okay.
involves
That has
It's a lot. I don't even have enough time to explain that movie,
Okay.
but that might be a good. I don't know if that would be. That'd be a bad
maybe
movie.
not.
Well, Mike,
It was
Maybe for
produced for
humiliation.
$60,000 and it made over $25 million.
That's an expensive porn.
In the 1960s,
Yeah.
it made that much money?
1972.
Oh,
but it also kickstarted someone's career.
The star of this movie.
Exactly.
Yes.
Miss Marilyn Chambers got her big break in this movie, Behind the Green Door.
Matt, you're
And then
so
5
horrible.
years
No
later,
idea.
in
I stumbled across this
1977,
film.
Marilyn Chambers starred in her first non-porno movie, Rabbit,
Which was kind of a porno.
which explains why she's naked so much
Yeah,
in it.
exactly.
So let's get
Wow.
started with Rabbit. 1977. It starts with Rose and Hart. Rose, Marilyn Chambers, is riding on the back of a motorcycle with her boyfriend Hart. Yes, his name is Hart.
And her name is Rose.
And her name is Rose. Yeah, exactly. They're driving really fast, a little too fast for my
Too
liking.
fast.
and Hart dies.
They're
Nice.
driving, and a van pulls off the side of the road. It's like a family, and they're arguing about direction and stuff. They pull off the side, and then they find out where they're going, and they get back in the road, and like they're blocking the whole road, and the van breaks down. And there's a long stretch. It's like a mile
Yeah,
stretch.
he's like going
and the
for a
motorcycle's
long time.
coming, and they can obviously see him, but I don't know, maybe he's like thinking about his taxes or something. I don't know.
Like, they'll move.
And
They'll
all of a
move
sudden he's
before
like,
I
"Oh
get there."
no!" He swerves off the road. Hart flies from the motorcycle, whereas Rose is stuck under the motorcycle. The motorcycle explodes,
Oh my.
and the guy from the van comes and starts like trying to put out the fire.
With the
But
blanket.
while they
The
were
man.
driving, they passed by a plastic surgery clinic,
Oh,
and the
just
clinic.
in
The best
time.
way. to
Oh,
describe it,
perfect.
It's the 1977 interpretation of what a plastic surgery clinic would be, and it's a bunch of rich people walking around with like bandages, and they're all just like playing shuffleboard and jogging and stuff.
Yeah.
Like a guy's jogging with a whole thing wrapped
He's
around
like
his
the
head.
Invisible Man.
And
like,
there's
in
a
the
girl
corner.
with binoculars, and she has like tape right here, like she just had surgery on her face and stuff. She's like, "Oh dear, the car accident." Cut to the office where the main doctor is talking with his business partner and his wife, who's one of his nurses, and they're talking about how they can create more special ways to do plastic surgery and the advanced plastic surgery. He hears about this crash.
Medical breakthroughs.
Exactly, as society always wants. They get an ambulance. They
Amen.
go and check this out. They find out he just has like a broken wrist and a concussion, but she's like seriously fucked up. She was stuck under the motorcycle, so.
And it exploded.
Yeah, so there's no time to get her to General Hospital. They got to take her right to surgery, and the doctor's like, "I know we don't usually do this. We usually do like boob jobs and replacing ears. Like that's what they were
Yeah.
doing."
I don't know if I would trust them.
I wouldn't either, but he's like, "We're gonna fix this girl. We're gonna do it right. We're gonna create some of these new scientific ways of preserving the skin." So they start peeling skin off of her thigh, and they're putting it in this test tube because
Damn
they're
it.
gonna treat it so that when they put the skin on her body, you won't leave any scars. It'll be like a perfect kind of surgery and stuff. Which is the guy that that you want fixing your life isn't the guy you want to like make you look better. I feel like so.
Well,
That's
also,
those are
like,
two
what about the
different
scar
guys.
on your leg from the skin you took off?
We don't talk about that.
It's just it's just a small layer of the,
Yeah, it's a
It
tiny
grows
layer of
back.
a lot of it. So she has a lot of burns on her chestal area and her abdomen. I can't even say that word.
upper
Abdominal?
abdomen.
That one.
Abdomen.
Her chest.
Chesticles?
Chesticles.
Chesticles,
So they
Lauren
start
said.
doing the surgery, and then a month goes by. And Hart is leaving the hospital because Rose is in a coma, and there's nothing you can do for her here. Go back to Montreal where you live, and we'll call you. It's a whole Canada movie, and we'll call
just
you
kidding.
when she gets better and stuff. And he's like, "Okay, fine." And he goes off with the business partner, and they're like buddies now because they've been hanging out for a month. And they leave Rose there, so she's asleep in the bed. She's in a coma, and then that night she wakes up and she's screaming, and another patient comes in and is like, "Oh my gosh, what's wrong? Are you okay?" And she's like, "I'm so cold. I'm so cold." He's like, "Well, let me get the doctor." She's like, "No, just hold me. Just hold me." He's like, "That's weird. You're naked," and her boobs are out and stuff. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
But she's like, "No, hold me, hold me." He's like, okay. And he starts holding her, and she's like, "This feels nice, feels nice." And then all of a sudden he starts yelling, and she's like squeezing him tighter. She's like hugging him, and then blood starts coming from this area over there. You don't see where it's coming from yet, not yet. But all of a sudden she seems more relaxed, and he's passing out. The next morning he's awake in some other place, and he can't feel anything on his right side, so they assume he had a stroke. They go check out Coma Girl's room, and there's blood over the wall, so they assumed Stroke Guy was molesting Rose while she was in her coma. Screwed up, right?
That's really messed up. I'm not
That's
happy
not what
about
was
that.
happening.
We don't know that yet. So they think the guy got a
really
stroke, so they
disgusting.
send him to General Hospital that's hours away.
Is that what they call it?
They
in the
send him
movie?
into the
They do
soap
call it General
opera.
Hospital. They say it several times, General Hospital.
Are they
Send him to the General Hospital.
The
Are they
Canadians are very
sending him to the
specific.
soap opera?
I wish. It'd be a weird soap opera.
That is a soap opera, General Hospital.
No, I know, but this story would make
Oh.
it way weirder. But
I know.
But she's still like in a coma, and it's weird. So the next night, she wakes up again, and she bails. She bails on the hospital. She goes
Yeah, fuck that
walking.
shit.
Yeah, screw that place, messed up. She goes to a barn and she starts petting this cow. And then she like
God damn it.
side
Oh,
humps
yeah, the
cow.
weird
she, like,
barn
side humps
thing,
it.
yeah.
And then like
Is she still naked?
no, she's wearing her hospital gown, and she's side humping it. She looks like she's getting pleasure on it, but then she vomits everywhere, and you're like, what the heck is happening? And then a
Can't
creepy
be
drunk
animals.
farmer comes and goes, what are you doing here? I know what you want. And he's gonna rape her.
Yes,
Which
of
is
course.
a cool
Although
theme
to
you
him,
want with
it
this.
sounds like
Yeah.
That crazy farmer and rape
She
stereotype.
like gets him in a headlock kind of thing and stabs his eye, and you don't know with what yet. You haven't seen anything yet, but she stabs that and she runs. she runs. And she
No,
goes back
wait,
to the
wait,
hospital.
no.
Oh, there's a twist later. She goes back to the hospital and calls her boyfriend, and her boyfriend's
Why'd
like,
she go
"What's
back
wrong
to
with
the
you?"
hospital?
I know, that's what I was thinking too. Why you keep going back to this place?
She left.
She left and to go back. But she calls her boyfriend. She's like, I need you to come get me. This place is messed up. Something's wrong. And he's like, how are you in? You're supposed to be in a coma. What's happening right now? And she's like, no, come get me. And the nurse finds her and is like, hangs up the phone, takes her back to her room. And the boyfriend calls the business partner and is like, hey, we got to go to this hospital. You got to come with me. He's like, fine, I'll pick you up in the morning. He's with his kid that comes in later. But the doctor starts checking her out. And this is the first time you see it, guys.
Does the doctor rape her?
No. What?
Oh. I don't know, you
Where'd
said
your
check
mind
her
go?
out.
What the hell?
There's
Check
all
her
this
out
rape happening.
physically and making sure that
Lauren's
she's
just
healthy.
assuming it's a real rapey one.
So
It's a
this is
real
the first
rapey
time you
film.
see it
Porno,
because he
she
picks
got
up her
confused.
arm, and there's like, this is gonna sound gross,
looks
but
like
it's
a
kind of
butthole.
like a vagina in her armpit.
What?
And there's a pincer in this
It's
pit.
got like a little
So
needle.
the whole idea is this pincer shoots out on the
God,
person and
gross.
pokes
And
them
sucks their
and
blood.
sucks their blood, and that's what she eats for nourishment.
Is that necessary?
No, it's just a visual.
No.
But the way I call it armpit attack. When every time it happens, it's an armpit attack because she literally grabs
Use
and hooks
the
him.
armpit
so
attack.
she does
Yeah,
this
Rose,
to the
use your
doctor,
armpit
and
attack.
she
Use
grabs
the
the
attack,
doctor
Rose.
and does the armpit attack on his neck. And anytime that someone gets bitten by this thing, they lose memory of what happened.
Right, they
That's
just
the
pass
thing?
out and
Yeah. So
their brain is wiped.
Yeah. So she does that to the doctor, cuts to the dude, the stroke guy that was got sent to General Hospital. And he's like, I'm leaving, I'm getting out of here. And the other patient's like, you shouldn't go yet. He's like, I'm fine. He turns and he's all pale. And it's like, uh-oh, what's
yeah, he's
going
dying.
on? He gets in a cab, and in a couple-hour drive in that cab,
he's
the
dead.
cabbie's like, hey, are you okay, man? No, even better, because the cabbie's like, what's
Then
going
he
on?
has
The
a-
guy turns into a zombie and
Yeah,
attacks the
what-
cabbie,
yeah, Mike
making
forgot-
a car accident.
Mike forgot to point out that not only was porno really popular in the 70s, but also
Zombie
movie.
movie. I was leaving that under the table. So
George
it would be
A.
a surprise.
Romero,
You guys all on porn. All of a sudden, there's zombies.
Zombie movie.
So these people who get bit by the armpit pincer, they turn into zombies. They turn into
become
zombies. So the
zombies.
doctor
I don't believe it.
cut
They
back to the
become-
hospital. The doctor looking really sick. He has a patch, and the nurse is like,
Yeah,
"Hey, are you
now he's
okay?"
gonna
And he's like,
turn-
"I'm fine."
Turn into a zombie.
They start doing surgery on a patient, and he's sewing up her ear. And the nurse, he's looking like really bad. And the nurse is like, "Are you okay, doctor?" He's like, "I need something to cut the string." She's like, "Here's some scissors." He takes the scissors and cut her finger.
these normally
on
work.
their finger. And he starts attacking everyone. Everyone's getting bitten. All the chaos. She bails again from the hospital. Rose is out of here. She hitchhikes with a truck driver,
and
she,
then kills the truck driver.
not
No,
yet,
the truck
though.
driver's cool.
This truck driver is the only decent man in this movie. Everyone else that goes to attempt to talk to her is the sleaziest, creepiest guy. But
What
this
about
truck
the
driver's
doctor?
legit.
I said that.
Oh, the doctor's
Wow, somebody who normally has a really rapey stereotype is actually a great guy in
Yeah,
this movie.
it was.
Yeah.
They
So
break
cut
the
to
really, really apparent one.
Cut to the boyfriend and the business partner driving to the hospital, and they're seeing all this news about like this kind of rabies epidemic spreading around. The farmer has
So
it
wait,
now,
now
and
that the every time the zombie eats somebody, do they turn into it? Like, is
they
this spread?
pass
Are they
on. Yeah,
spreading
they
it?
do pass on the virus with their
This is
saliva, is what
freaking
they explain
crazy.
it. But they all think it's rabies. The boyfriend and the business partner get to the hospital,
Thinks
and
everyone's
they're like,
rabid.
"Oh, you knew this doctor? He's crazy. Now he's attacking one. You got to go to the police department." They have to go to the police department. The boyfriend calls like the best friend's like, hey, if you hear from her, oh, you did hear from her. Rose is on her way to go see the best friend. She's like, I'll be there tomorrow. I had to go to the police station. I'll be there. So all the craziness happens. There's
And then the best friend dies.
As Rose is moving, she ends up killing the truck driver.
Yeah,
You find out that he tries to give her a sandwich and she tries to eat it, but then she throws up, so she can't have normal food.
Yep.
She can only have human
She's
blood.
like a vampire.
Well, that's what happened at the
Great.
cow.
She threw it up because
She
it was
couldn't
cow
eat-
blood.
she couldn't take the
it was
cow
only
Now,
animal
so
blood.
if everybody has rabies, is everybody like doing the whole old yeller, like, all right, we gotta take Jason out back
Well,
now?
The virus is spreading as she's moving to Montreal because she's spreading all of this disease as she's going, and they start declaring martial law in the city. If there's no cure for
it gets
once
insane.
they turn, there's no cure. You just gotta kill
All right,
them.
it's a
they've
purge.
but they've created a cure for people who haven't been bitten yet. So if you haven't been bitten yet, you can get cured and get this injection. But if you have been bitten, you're fucked.
out.
We're gonna kill you. That's basically what the
Yeah.
city of Montreal is saying.
Yeah.
So
I'm okay with that. That's a pretty good plan, right?
she gets to Montreal, she gets to her best friend's house, and then she goes out to the movies where
Yeah.
actually this movie that they shot this in was the second theater
behind
that
the
the
green
Mitchell
door?
brothers owned.
I was gonna say,
it
it
was
had
the
to have
second
been
theater that the
connected
Mitchell
to
brothers
these
did
Mitchell
on. Yes, it
brothers,
was. And they basically
You know what happened in there.
this creepy guy comes up and he's like, I just want a handful of your popcorn. And she's like, come sit next to me. And then he starts feeling her up. And then he starts feeling up her armpit, which is danger zone if you know this girl. And
Watch out.
The next
No, 'cause
shot
you
is
thought it
she's,
felt like her
she's walking out of the
vagina.
theater and he's like passed out in the chair. And you can see his hand has a hole in it.
Hey, baby,
Yeah,
I'm.
he's sitting there all like totally dazed. Like,
Yeah.
Hey, baby, I'm into armpits.
So
it's
the
my
boyfriend
thing.
and the business partner are still trying to drive to see her, trying to get there. And then she needs more food, so she goes to the mall. And this was one of my favorite scenes because it's Christmas apparently, and there's
Yeah.
decorations everywhere. There's a Santa Claus with all the kids in line, and then a zombie just starts attacking and stuff. And everyone's like, "Oh my gosh!" And a cop has like a Tommy gun. He's like, "I'll get him!" And he mows down everything. He kills the zombie and the Santa Claus at the mall. And he's like, "Oh shit!" Just say Santa was a zombie too, you know. So the business partner was like, okay, I'm gonna drop.
It's a purge.
I'm gonna get to my house and you can take my car, but I gotta check on my family. The business partner goes in his house where he's waiting for his wife and his kid. He can't find either of them. He goes upstairs, finds blood all over the baby's room, and then the wife comes out and attacks him. So you assume that the wife
ate the baby.
ate the baby. Ate the baby. So the boyfriend gets to the best friend's house where Rose is, and Rose. This is the first time you full on see like the pincer because she's like down like armpit hugging.
I can't believe this movie.
Lauren might pass out for the first time in a humiliation film.
I'm like,
She was like attacking her best friend, and then like he opens the door and startles her, and she like, kind of jumps up like this, and you see the pincer out of her.
Yeah,
armpit,
it's
and you're
really
like, what
gross.
is that? This is weird.
Yeah, it's
and he's
really
like,
gross.
you're the one that's causing all of this. You have there's martial law, there's disease everywhere, and she doesn't believe it. She's like, what are you talking about? I didn't spread this disease. I just have to do this. It's the only way I can survive. And he's like, no, you're a monster. Like you're crazy. And she's like, you did this to me. You crashed that fucking motorcycle. And she's kind of right though. She's kind of right though.
Cue the Seinfeld music.
So he's like trying to get her to like go get help, and she pushes him down some stairs. He gets knocked out, and she finds another creepy guy. And a cut to him, back to him waking up, and he goes to the room, and she calls the room, and she's like, "I'm gonna prove to you that I am not the reason for this disease. I already did the armpit attack on this dude. He's passed out right now, and." I'm gonna prove
they
right
sit in the
now.
room with them, right?
Well, she's staying in the room with him, and he's on the phone in a different place. And he's like, "No, you got to get out." And she's like, "No, I'm gonna prove right now that I'm not the cause of this disease." And while she's saying this, the guy's turning into a zombie, and he's coming over to her, and then she basically dies. And he's like, "No, Rose!" And he breaks the phone at the end. He smashes it.
Yeah, it was like the most dramatic moment for him. It was great.
Yeah, and the last scene is like there's supposed to be like these contamination suits and stuff, and they're like carrying these like the zombies out of there and stuff. But the last shot is like her dead, and the contamination guys take her and throw her in the back of a dump truck and like compress it. And I'm like, that's not gonna get rid of the disease.
That doesn't help anything.
No, we've just wanted to try this for a really long time.
So that's the movie. If you're curious more about it, there is pre-production for a remake of this movie.
You're lying to me
I am
right
not
now.
lying. It is in pre-production. The girl in the
Lauren will
movie,
not be seeing it.
Jigsaw is going to be the star of it. I think they're going to focus more on the plastic surgery side of it than anything else. But they're in
Wait, Jigsaw
pre-production.
has his own acting career now?
Oh yeah, for sure. And if you are curious more on San Francisco and the birth of pornography, you can listen to The Dollop, episode 225. It's very funny. It's very good. It's very informative. Shout out to you guys because I
hope
listened
they
to this
put us
episode,
on
and right when
ours.
you gave me this, when you said Marilyn Chambers, I was like, oh my gosh, I know all about her randomly. Yeah.
Weird.
Thing I really
I
want to
don't
know all
remember-
about.
I don't
so-
remember ever saying that, but cool.
Yeah.
Well,
That is
All
Rabbit.
right.
And that was Rabbit.
That was
Lauren, did
horrid.
you make it through that?
No.
Lauren almost passed out. I was hoping she kind of
That was
would.
the first one I've ever seen someone almost
That was
pass out.
crazy.
Oh,
I can't
man.
handle that. Okay, yeah.
That movie's
All right.
insane.
Look, zoom in.
No, I mean, realistically,
pale.
the only reason I selected this movie because I was always in the mood for watching another zombie movie, and I saw the poster, and I was like, that poster looks so intense.
man.
Like,
Matt,
there's people
Matt,
piled up
Matt.
against it. Like, hopefully we can get like a picture of the poster of Rabbit.
Matt
up
just
there,
likes
because
to
it is
Google
insane.
Can't even enjoy
Great
the
movies on
zombie part of
Netflix
it.
with nudity.
No,
And then,
I did.
yeah,
do
yep,
that.
yep,
A,
yep,
it wasn't on
yep.
Netflix. It was on
You got
Amazon.
Amazon.
And I was going through it, and I was like, Rabbit. This looks like a sick.
You can't even
like,
enjoy the
70s
zombie part
movie.
because you can't. I don't know how you could take an armpit pincer thing seriously. Like, that was me the whole time. I was like, wait, is she hugging them?
Yeah,
Like, she
it's
killed this
really
one girl in
weird.
a spa, and it was like, she was
Oh, yeah, the
hugging her.
first-
And I'm
the-
like, is this her only mode of defense? Is like hugs?
Come here, I'm gonna kill you.
And if you do hug someone, make sure you hug over their arm. You don't go under, because that's
Lesson
where
of
they
this
get,
movie.
that's where they get you. That's where the armpit pincers are.
All right. Well,
Oh
a
man.
totally other direction.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah, no worries. I did the same thing that you actually did. Googled the worst movies on Netflix, and I found True Memoirs of an International Assassin, a long list to the Happy Gilmore collection, starring the guy who plays Paul Blart. I don't know what his name is.
She doesn't even know.
What's his name?
Kevin.
Kevin
James.
James, yeah.
Kevin James.
He's got two first names. Great guy.
Have
The
fun.
True Memoirs of an International Spy?
Assassin.
Just got better.
So
All
there you
right.
go.
Well, that's going to be the humiliation next week. Thank you very much for humiliation this week,
Let's
Mike.
see if I can pull out some other history.
Absolutely.
This one.
This next one.
So come back to check that out. Also, send us your picks through all sorts of social media. You can check out the website, www.blockbusterpick-ems.com. We are also on Twitter. We are also on Google Play and Stitcher. And that's the audio part of the podcast. And if you're watching us, thank you very much. This has been another week of Blockbuster Pick-ems, and everybody have a wonderful one.